Welcome to the Lighthouse Experiment, a Freedom Center Church podcast.
Like it. All right. I always, because I'm used to work, it's all touchscreen.
It's all I know. I still forget sometimes. Well, welcome back to the Lighthouse Experiment Podcast, everybody. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody?
What's up? I'm back. I'm back from... Okay, so I was supposed to come home on Saturday, and I didn't because my baby was sick, and if I came home, then I didn't want to get my other friends sick because I went to the Holland Tulip Festival on Sunday after church and came back Monday. So I didn't see my family for like a whole week, Jim, and it was crazy. So just, I don't know, just a little bit more respect and perspective this week for families and stuff that have to work away and all that, you know, just kind of, I mean, for me, it was a week of vacation, but it was also a week away from my littles, and I'm primary caregiver for my baby who's 3. So we still call her the baby. We learned that from the Parkins. I love it. I love it though. So no, it was a good week to get away and just kind of get some perspective on all that and stuff. And so now I'm back. Been home since last night. So it was good.
Well, right on.
Yeah.
Just been doing work and whatever, you know, kind of in writer's block mode right now. I just haven't written in a couple weeks. It's not really a writer's block. I just haven't felt like writing. That's all.
It's kind of been a lot in the last couple of weeks.
I'm not on any type of deadline, you know.
No. Approximately how much of the book do you have written? Like, did you decide ahead of time how many chapters you're going to do, or approximately how many stories you're going to write about?
No. I don't know.
When you're done with it, have you figured out, like, if you're going to self-publish it and do, like, an Amazon thing, or... No?
I haven't got that far yet.
No, that's okay. I was just curious if you had, like, thought about that.
I have no idea.
No, it's okay.
It's going to be a physical copy, though. I'm not going to I don't want to just, like, ebook.
Right. There's a couple different ways you can do it. You can have, like, a bunch of your book printed and then sold. Yeah. Or you can have it, like, every time you sell one, they print and ship it for you. Which I thought was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
But I think you should buy a few anyways, because then when we connect with other folks and have them on the podcast, just kind of like Pastor Danny did. Like, you just send a book and sign it and stuff would be really...
That'd be cool.
Pretty dope, so...
Yeah, it's definitely needed to get something like that out there and written.
Yeah.
It's not like that kind of mental and emotional health stuff and fitness stuff. People don't, like we've talked about 100 times. That's just not a topic that boys want to get into, especially,
Yeah.
Female firefighters and cops and medics and stuff are way tougher when it comes to that sort of thing. They're way stronger in the skill set of like offloading that kind of stuff. And
do you think they just connect with friends more and family?
Probably.
Like friends and family more to kind of like talk about stuff?
Probably.
Yeah. That's cool. That's kind of related to the sermon this week. Pastor Carl, I really enjoyed his sermon this week, talking about connecting with people, really being there with them in their ups and downs, like understanding other people and their sorrow and rejoicing with them in their celebrations and their victories and stuff. So I think that's pretty...
It was a good, because it's like, I felt that to my bones. There's like a very tight circle of people that, that was cared enough is strong language. So that's not what I mean, but that would like invest that during COVID. Like people who knew me, knowing what was going on and what I was getting into, and then that kind of thing. That's a very tight circle. I'm okay with that. You know, I think that like there's a comedian, Joey Diaz, and the way there's this little clip that he talks about where he says like, you don't need, his language is strong, so I won't use his language, like, but you don't need like 20 dudes,
Right.
right? You just
Right.
need like 2 or 3, and you can take down a whole country. Like
Yeah.
give me, and I believe that to my core. Like, give me 3 of my closest dudes, and
We'll take it on.
we'll take down anybody,
Yeah.
And it's so, I think sometimes as Americans, and possibly even the church, we feel like we got like all the everybody, and it's just at some levels, right? There's like the different circles,
Yeah.
but your people, you know, like, I know who my people are.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. So I don't need, when I look back at the last couple of years, like, I don't need everybody at that place in Fenton, like, reaching out.
Right.
I just need the people who did. And
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of depth of relationship that he was talking about in that message, and it's just being with people who, like, you may not understand, but at least you'll sit there and listen, and you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and not come at me with like
All the things.
all the things. Like,
yeah.
well, like, and people, and at this point I'm older, that got some wisdom,
Yeah.
but there's people, like, I've had people before recently, or they will die or commit suicide or whatever has happened in my career, and I've had people go, were they saved? I'm like, why would you ask me that now? Like, I understand the concern, but like, come on, oh man, time and place. Like,
Yeah.
I just said, yeah, so over the week, this so and so line of duty death and whatever, and your response, out of not knowing what else to say, was, oh, are they saved? Were they a believer? I'm like, I hope. I don't know. You know what I mean, though? Like, why
Yeah.
is...
I don't know, because I don't know. I think people are curious. And when we think about life and death and dying, I don't know, as Christians, I think that should be on our mind. But I also get how if you didn't know that person, then does it even really matter if you knew or not? If they, like, it matters if they were a believer or not, but it doesn't really, I don't know.
Maybe not. No, it does. It absolutely matters. But maybe
It
what I'm
absolutely
saying is
matters, but if
not
I know about this, not random person, but this person that had nothing to do with my life, like, am I supposed to go do something about it, or am I just wanting to know because I'm curious? Like you said, had nothing else to.
or maybe it just wasn't. I mean, I guess my point is, it doesn't have to be the very first thing you say.
Right.
Like, before even, oh no, or like, what happened, or anything. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that we get a little wily in our Christianity sometimes, but it just gets awkward. You don't know what to say, so you say words. I tend to not say anything. It's better for me if I don't know what to say. It's just
better not. I don't know. I kind of feel a mix of things nowadays. I think that I'm doing a lot more thinking than saying nowadays, and I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. I don't always know. It's wild.
Mm-hmm. It is. But I don't think you always have to say stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of things that go down that I don't have words for. I've listened to a lot of people's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just it. I sat there and
right.
let them offload, and then whatever. But like,
yeah, I would say, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about a lot of things, like a lot of that stuff. Like, I love that you said you don't need everybody in that building. You don't need 20 people. I think that's been my experience over the last probably 15 years of just like having such a wide net and then growing in the confidence to just pursue friendship
Yeah.
and not needing all the things. And I mean, being somewhat of open-handed with friendships. And I mean, I don't want to be so closed off to people that I'm not willing to get to know somebody new.
Yeah,
Um,
no, absolutely.
but I mean, even like this weekend, like I had intentional time with a very small core group of women that like I was able to share my heart with in a way that I would never do in a large group
right,
setting, you know, and that's way more impactful than the large group. So
right.
yeah, no,
And
that's great.
that's what I'm speaking to, is I'm
Yeah,
speaking to being with dudes that know most of this stuff anyways.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's
And
not like
right. And
it's, you know,
those same Kroger, like what you're saying, like they don't sit there just trying to fix all the problems and tell me all the things that I need to do and all the things that blah blah blah, but they continue to at the wise right time to say, well, you know, maybe this, or I believe in you, I love you, you can
hmm
do this, you know, God's working, you know, just reminding
right.
me,
Yeah.
encouraging me, you
And
know.
you know, in this current situation that we're in with work, my partner and I just came to the conclusion, like, dude, we got to make this happen, and
Yeah,
we got to make it happen today. Like,
yeah,
this is happening now, or we'll just stay. You know, we'll continue to come in here, and we'll continue to go home and be checked out, and we'll continue to do these things.
yeah,
So it just is what it is. Like, no hard feelings, sports ambulance, but it is just
yeah,
it. It when it gets to mental health stuff, and it gets to, you know, my where this affects our families,
yeah,
you know, and if it affects, and now, because right, we have this Grand Blanc Freedom Center, Grand Blanc, we have this house campus,
yeah,
and we church together.
yeah,
So then it's even more intentional. Like, when you get, like, this is in 18 years, this is how partners, this is how it is. This is how it is for cop partners. Like, everything that we do, it matters, and it affects everything that we do.
yeah.
It affects both families. It affects, you know, it's
Well, that's a
it's
gift
even
that
on a more intentional level, you know, like it gets more like it's even smaller group, right?
yeah.
But
Well, and what a gift that you can have the right person at the right time to do
right.
this transition with. I think that's just pretty phenomenal. You know, that's, I mean, like, I know you've talked about it in the past, but just you've had some a whole array of partners. You've had a whole
Mm-hmm.
array of just people, and they've been amazing. Um, but to have Danny right now have gone through the pandemic with him and do all this with
Mm-hmm.
him, I think that sounds
Right.
like a pretty cool thing.
Right. And that's, you know, and that's another, like, all of those things are level, like, different levels, right? And
Right.
so this is cool, because this is going to open up for our listeners. Like, you've been with the people you've been with, going through this pandemic and going through all the things that have happened incorporated with it,
Yeah.
you know, and that's like, these are our people now. These, like, we survived this thing, you know, and that's forever, for the rest of our lives. We're tied. It's just like a soldier going to war or going on deployment. We're tied together by this, like, this horrible medical thing that happened.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? And, like, all the theories and all the other stuff and all the extracurriculars around it,
Right.
whatever. But,
Yeah.
like, in those moments, there's all these groups of people, the people you would see, and then, you know, the circle gets a little bigger. So the different agencies and the people you see, different crews on scenes and at hospitals. And then, you know, so it's just that whole idea of not needing 20, but needing,
Yeah.
you, like you said, your core,
Yeah.
this core group that you're with. And it's whatever. If, like, and you know what's cool about that is when you have your group, and whatever, like, if
Yeah.
I'm not in that guy over there's small circle,
I'm
that's
good.
okay.
Yeah.
If I'm in that third layer circle, that's cool.
Yeah.
But when we strip it down, it's like these things are important. I think they're important for our mental health, our spiritual health, all the things.
Yeah. Well, and I think at the core of just humanity, to be known, to be loved, to be valued, to be believed in, to have people, again, there when you want to celebrate something, and there when you're going through your worst day, and you know that they're committed and signed up for the whole breadth of that. That's amazing to know that I have people that are going to stand beside me, and that are committed to me the long run, and for me, the pandemic and all the craziness, it really kind of sifted a lot of relationships. And it really showed me who I could lean on through that time, and who I could, and then also who I had consistent depth of relationship with, that it didn't depend on the building, and it didn't depend on the thing. It depended on, am I calling you and checking in on you because I love you, and we're that close, that's
it's important, and those things, and like to go back to Pastor Carl's message, like if I'm like really, and there's people who know what I do and stuff like that, but like you and Nick are really, and even despite the fact that you've been involved with TLE, and there's still things that you don't fully understand about our world, but you've taken the time. You've taken the time to stand at the fence, to be like, what's the guy's name that you couldn't see his face?
Was it Al?
I can't remember. No,
well,
Al
it was Tim
his
Allen. Oh yeah, Al was his assistant. I'd have to look it up.
But you know what I mean? Like you guys, at least you're standing there.
We're gonna have to look it up, because absolutely. And you never saw his face, and then I think at like the final thing,
I can't remember what the guy's
I'm
name
so
was.
sorry. And everybody on Home Improvement. Let's see. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. This is gonna the
Tim's neighbor on Home Improvement.
This is great. Okay,
that's why we need like an intern producer, that they could be looking at this. Joe Rogan has
Wilson?
Jamie. We need some.
It's Wilson.
Yes, it is Wilson.
I knew it was a W of some sort, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah. Wilson.
His name on the show was Wilson Jr. That's so funny.
That's why we need, I'm telling you, we need someone who could be live producing and looking up stuff for us.
Yep. Best known for his role as the kindly, unseen neighbor, Wilson W. Wilson Jr. That's so funny. But yeah, and he always had this wonderful way to like bring this wisdom and talk through stuff with Tim Allen. That was so great. Yeah.
It's, that's the thing with relationships and stuff like that. I don't think that
No, I think that's a perfect example, because like you said, we're still not in your shoes, and we still haven't done the job for 18 years like you have. You know what I mean? We didn't work through the pandemic and take and care for sick person after sick person after sick person, and do the self-quarantine at home with your family. Like, we didn't do all that stuff that you saw. But we believe in you. We believe in your family. We care for the well-being of your family,
And most importantly, you guys know when to speak and know when not to.
Well, most of the time. I would say 98% of the time.
Just the one time, man. But when you look back, it was so funny. You guys.
Because so I know, because in my mind, I'm like, here's everybody else. But really, Jim, like, tell me your heart. Like, we really still want to know your heart, and tell, like... And if that would have been a night that you're like, I just can't talk about it right now, then I would have totally respected that.
It was so funny. This is like, when you look at it now.
It's
so funny. We were at your house, right?
Yeah, you guys have walked in.
House. And I had said, listeners, I had said, I'm sick of having the same 5 conversations, because at the time it was about the reality of COVID,
Yeah.
or like hospitals skewing numbers,
Yeah.
masks or no masks,
Yeah.
and George Floyd. And I said, I'm tired of the same 5 conversations. And Ashley responded with, so just tell me if I should wear a mask when I. Yeah, it's really funny.
It's funny
It was
now,
even
but
funny then. It was funny then
it
too. It
was
was like
it
a
was
little,
funny then.
it was a little comic relief. And you didn't even intend it as comic relief. You were legitimately asking me,
Yeah.
should I wear a mask when I go places?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Because even now, I hate all the baloney online and on the news and all the things like we were talking about before we got on air. Like, there's always like, hey, look at this, but we're really doing this. And when
Yeah,
Steve
man. They,
Hernandez was on and he talked about, look at this, the second, third impact of all the ripple effects
right.
of stuff. That's why, because you're in it and you see it and you're actually hands on caring for patients and in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, I want your perspective. I want you to tell me what you see because that's more valuable than what's going on in the news station.
Right.
You
And
know?
well, that's because that's what they do to us. They hit us with the most extreme,
Right.
most shocking, most polarizing aspect of the conversation.
Yeah.
And it comes in, like the song says, it comes in flying in like a wrecking ball. And then, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
then everybody's freaked out, and then everybody's answering from emotion.
Yeah.
And it's been said before, like, well, you take Jesus. Jesus was never on the polarizing one side or the other
Right.
of anything. He was always in the middle. It's like, and another fact that we like, emotional people are the most easily manipulated on whatever side.
Yeah. Let me
So
find the thing that you're afraid of or the
if
thing
you
that you're
blast them with
like,
it extremely
yeah.
polarizing, loud, obnoxious, bright
That's
lights,
everybody. Yeah.
everyone's animated and hyped up,
Yeah.
then the response is out of that. Then you're already like in the most basic of, you know, if you go on a treadmill and you run like a 5K at your fastest pace, and then you jump off the treadmill and I'm blasting you with questions while you're trying to catch it, it's like that. Like your
Yeah.
body's amped up, everything's animated,
Yep.
everything's hyper everything, and now you're making decisions on what you're going to say online about a certain topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, take a breath. This is, that's just.
Well, just, I mean, I don't know. I know, I know we've told you in the past, but sincerely, thank you for just bearing with us through that whole time because it was wild and crazy and
Yeah.
scary. And I felt like everybody was lying to me all the time. And I felt like even people that were well meaning, same thing. I thought that they were just, their perspective was manipulated by A, B, or C. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I just didn't,
Yeah.
it was hard for anybody to really see the whole picture. And so we really do appreciate you, and we really do appreciate you being willing to have those conversations because I know that that's the type of person that you always try to be, is to
Mm-hmm.
have good conversation with people, not just that you agree with, but to have conversation with people that,
Right. Like, I don't know, maybe I learned something.
right,
And if I stand corrected, I'm going to come on here and go, like, I didn't think of that. I
right,
stand corrected. Done it
right,
before. I don't mind that.
right. Because it's not about your ego, you know, it's
No,
about
man.
actually caring for people and doing the best by them and what we're doing for the mission. You know what I mean? So, but
One time, like this is a long time ago, not that long ago. I think COVID, I don't know, immaterial, but uh, but I was on Twitter because Twitter is like a newspaper, it's super entertaining. Like, I typically don't put anything on there, but I do scroll and read people's threads, and it's wild. Those Twitter streets are nuts, especially now. But back then, I made a comment, and some dude that I don't know, I've never talked to since, and I never probably will see or talk to again on there, I made a comment and he corrected it. And he was right. And I was like, oh man. And I said, I appreciate it. I never thought of it that way.
It's cool.
And it changed the whole thread, dude, because this was like in the middle of a thread and everything went from like vitriolic and like just to, oh, we can have, you see this, and like resharing this comment that I was like, oh, like
That's really cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, more of us
Like,
need to
good
do
on
more
you
of
for
that.
pointing that out, man, because I didn't know. And the dude was like, what? I was like, yeah, I didn't. I had no idea.
Well, then to go right back to the beginning of the sermon this week, are you engaging with people to be right? Or are you engaging with people for relationship?
Right.
And you can
Exactly.
pursue relationship and share information and have layers of right or wrong or right, whatever that is,
Right.
and share all that. But if the intention of the relationship is to understand and know each other,
Yeah, man. You
then we
gotta
can
listen
do
with the
all the
intent
right
to
and
hear.
wrongs. Otherwise, I just have to protect my ego and I have to protect being
Right.
right at all cost. And we don't have to do that.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no. So that's just
Listening
so
with the
good.
intent of listening, like to hear rather
Yeah.
than to respond.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I know for me, whenever I've done that, whenever like you're telling me something and I'm formulating my counterpoint, like like if you speak in terms of boxing or fighting, if I'm going to counter that punch, that I'm not here. So then if I miss it, like I will say from my life, like a solid 75 to 80% of the time, I come off looking like a fool because I missed it. And I respond to something that's not what they actually were saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, well, I'm going to come at you with this right hook over here. And then I say it, and they're like, what? That's not what I said at all.
Right.
And then I think, oh, I'm a big dummy.
I'm sorry
Right?
for getting all wound up and getting all angry and getting all offended
Right.
and getting all
But
hurt.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just,
No, that's
and
been good. And I
everybody gets
think
to have
that
their perspective.
they do. They do, and I think that again, like the perspective is valuable, and we're all seeing like there's this old story, old children's book or something, but basically all these mice go out to explore this mountain and they
Mm-hmm.
find all these different parts of essentially an elephant, and they all come back with a completely different story of what they found.
Mm-hmm.
But really, they all found the same elephant, just different parts of him.
Right.
So one found the trunk, and one found the tail, and one found a leg, and one found the back and the head and the ear and all this stuff. And so I think that that's so much of, and even so key in the body, so key as believers, to really say, okay, what does the word say? What is Christ's heart? What is God's heart for this person? And how can I just be with them and love them and
Mm-hmm.
know them and value them? And gosh, let God do the work. Because then when we
Yeah,
actually
man.
trust and listen to each other, we actually get somewhere with things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, it's so
Yep.
good. So yeah, just thank you for having all those conversations over and over and over while you were under pressure to operate in that environment, and at the same time always mindful of the safety of your own family through that whole thing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think, and you played it so cool, Jim. To take you on security and freedom center, like I would always like joke about, like you're just so cool. You got your flat brim hat and your Vans on and whatever, and it's almost like nobody even knows you're on security because you're just so cool about it. But it's so intentional,
Yeah.
and I think that something that and what I'm thinking about even more, right, like just even realizing right now, is that you didn't make it, you weren't always blasting out about making about yourself while you were going through the pandemic. And I think sometimes I minimized your experience because I didn't see you so animated about, like, you were just doing your thing because that's what you signed up for, and that's
Mm-hmm.
your honor and duty and go do. And
Right.
I think that just kind of speaks to just how,
And it's
yeah, just your
honestly, that's
service in
happened
that.
throughout my career. more often than not, just because of how I function and how I do the thing,
Yeah.
that I've brought people to the hospital and I've done my report in the same tone we're talking. And so they're like, oh, this is all good.
It's fine.
And then I come in there and I'm like, back into person. I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? I legitimately said you should have respiratory and a tube ready.
I meant what I said.
And they'll be like, well, it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal because you're not panicked. Well, I'm not panicked, but
I don't need to be panicked. Yeah. So I guess even with that, Jim, like, I'm sorry for any time that Nick and I didn't really take you as seriously as maybe we should have. Seriously, like, because you're so cool. Like, whatever, dude, wear a mask or don't wear a mask. Like, whatever, it's not a big deal. But I have all these people dying around me right now. But whatever, do what you need to do.
But that's
so.
True,
I mean,
though.
I guess
and
just
I meant that. Like, you have to decide that, and here's the reasons why it's good, and also the reasons why.
Right.
It makes no sense because that dirty-handed person just grabbed that same coffee now and put it back, and now you're bringing it home.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So I guess, like, just, I don't know. I'm seeing as the dust has continued to settle on stuff like that. Just thank you for being such a good friend and such a good man. Just, I don't think. Hopefully, I know that so many in this community do, but so many of us really do appreciate you. And just thank you so much for just being such a good friend and leader through the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, so that's pretty cool.
It was something. It seems like finally
it's like something.
It seems like we're out of that now.
Yeah.
There are always, like, here and there, there'll be COVID positive.
Oh, absolutely.
Cases and stuff like that, but fewer and farther between. And
well, and I think of a lot of these students and stuff that, like you said, that they got thrown in. They just got their license. They just got graduate, and now they're thrown into surprise. Welcome to EMS. Welcome to ER. Welcome to all this.
And the thing that we're going to have to be mindful of as the ones who went through that is these ones coming in. It's not their fault. They weren't here for it.
Right.
So to not mentor them properly, to not, like, kind of leverage our veteran status to help them.
Yeah.
We can't have people coming in now and be like, you weren't here for it. So talk about it.
Right. You use the, I heard somebody say, like, use the like the easier times to spend that extra energy to invest in the times that are coming.
Right.
Because unfortunately, that's probably not going to be the only hard season that we ever go through.
Yeah.
I saw somebody
list. It's going to ramp up, dude.
And I saw somebody list all of the global things that have happened, even just for millennials. That's from what we've been aware of in middle school, what has impacted us and what we've witnessed just in the last 30 years, the last 25 years.
Well,
there's just thing after thing, you know?
Dude. And that's the thing, man. The GWAT veterans, man, which is Global War on Terror, those veterans are millennials.
Yeah.
Hello. Like your generation was at war the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. For most part, the entirety of your life. Think about this. Dudes that went to war right post 9/11 now have sons and or daughters that are 18 and joining the military. In some cases, they served together.
That's wild.
In the same thing. And whatever the case, we aren't talking about the ins and outs of the global war on terror. What we're saying is that generation that people kind of dirtbag for being lazy or this or that or not wanting to do that. They want to make a job, not get a job. All the things that they say about millennials.
Right.
It was millennials who joined up after those towers came down.
Yeah.
We got to call it.
No,
right?
that's good.
We got to say something because can't just have a whole generation of people put on blast all the time. We got to tell facts too.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a lot of, I think, my perception is a lot of folks my age, because I'm right kind of on the tail end of millennial. I think, I guess I forget where I am in that whole, but I am considered a millennial. I feel like there's a general, like, millennials are really trying hard to adult well and live well
Mm-hmm.
and take care of their
Yeah.
garbage and take care of their stuff, you know? So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
hopeful. I'm hopeful for that, but kind of circling back around to like the mental health stuff and everything, that um, to live all these years and still choose to stay hopeful and open
Mm-hmm.
hearted and willing to do
Well,
all the up and down with for ourselves and with other people. You know,
mm-hmm.
you can't sit with people in their sorrow if you're not willing to face sorrow. You
Right.
know what I mean? You can't sit with people and rejoice with them if you like shut your heart off and you're just living with walls up, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's harder. You leave yourself open for heartache, and but then you get to actually experience the ups and downs of life, like the breadth of what we were created to experience. And
Mm-hmm.
then when we do that with each other, it's really powerful, you know? So,
So in base camp today, they put the things come up like, what did you work on,
yeah.
whatever. And I put that excuse me, Pastor Carl and I had our monthly meeting, and we really like did not solve any of the world's problems. I said, but I put in the last month though, I've had people pass and people flourish,
Yeah.
and multiple days where I went through all of the emotions in a single day. Like, how that doesn't suck.
Right.
Like, would you want where everything's just happy on flowers all the time? That'd be, I guess that'd be good till it was just boring. you know, Things have to suck for you really to enjoy when it doesn't. It just is how it is. I want to put like the full spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, I want to completely spend my life, not just exist in it. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
want like the wheels to be
Yes.
coming off.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll send it to you, but there's a cool old poem. It's like an Indian poem, like it's called Tecumseh's Speech or something like that. But it speaks to that. It speaks to living such a full, fulfilled life. And then, like, when it's time for your death, don't be like these people that are now praying, they're weeping and praying for time to live their life differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want to go out like that, dude.
No.
I don't want to go.
No.
I
Nick
want to do
Nick and I were
all.
just talking about the other day. Like, I'm not gonna lay on my deathbed and be like, "Dang,
Yeah,
I
you,
wish
you
I
know,
did more laundry or something." I would no. It's gonna be, I wish I spent more time with the people that I care about. I wish
right?
I spent more time doing the things that matter. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. It's just I don't
Yeah.
know. You got to
No.
do what you're gonna do. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to live a life where then I was like, wish I would have. But then, I wish I would have done this different. But at the same time, I'm literally living the life dreamed about when I was little.
That's cool.
There
That's
you
cool to
go.
think about. Are you sending it to me?
Yeah, I just sent it in text form. I didn't get the whole thing.
Oh, that's okay. I'll look it up. At least I can see part of it. See the whole thing.
But like,
That's
you
awesome.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much to it. There's so
Yeah.
much more than just being polarized and upset over the news cycle. I like to see the news. I want to know what's happening out there.
Yeah.
I like these social media streets. It's fun to me, you know. But like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's so much more to be fulfilled with than just, I don't know. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I started this night pissed. Y'all didn't hear that part though. That's not recorded, so
No, that's all
whatever.
right. That's all right. And that's where, I think God is so good to just speak what he needs to speak, even though it's just
Hmm.
through hearts, So no, I'm grateful to share this space with this community, with folks that
Hmm.
want to be along for the ride and join in, And it just continues to be exciting to see where it's going and where God's, leading the boat, man. That's good. That's good.
Well, all right. That's really all I got. So we're just going to abruptly end this.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Freedom Center and Kingdom Builders, for your continued love and support. Thank you to our listeners. Keep coming back week after week. And now you can see us on YouTube.
Woohoo.
Which makes my son super happy.
It's super cool.
I'm a
Hi,
YouTuber. And your boys.
Which is funny because YouTube has a checkbox I have to do whether or not it's appropriate for kids or not. And I always say no because not that it's horrible. There's nothing rated on here.
No.
But it's not intended for kids, so I always check that it's not intended for kids. So
it's funny.
So Griff probably wouldn't see this even if you'd have to show it to him.
No, he's found it. He just types my name in.
Oh, that's awesome.
He Googles me and then shows his buddies.
That's so fun. That's cool.
I guess. Well, I don't have any information about.
Is that Siri talking to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This creeps me out. We were at a patient's house one time and that happened.
Seriously?
We were talking to her and her Alexa or whatever started answering questions.
And you're like, who else is in the house?
I was like, get me the heck out of here. So anyway, well, all right. See you guys. See you next time.